Oh, please don't turn into this town. Look when the electric bell, it's become very let's down.
Good evening, everyone. I might make another video or recording later today, but I wanted to do this one first because this is something I've been thinking about for a little while, and something that's been bothering me for a little while, and that was Glenn Beck's comments about the shooting in Norway. Now, Glenn Beck, right after the shooting and the bombings in Norway, he came out and said, well, he came out and denounced it. He said this guy was crazy. I think he compared him to Osama bin Laden. He said, what this guy did was not indicative of what me or my political movement or the people that follow me want to achieve or want to do in order to achieve our goals. And I'll give him kudos for coming out and denouncing and presenting a clear line that he doesn't endorse this kind of behavior. I'll give him some kudos for that, definitely. But a particular part of what he said when he was denouncing it really bothers me. He said, then there was a shooting at a political camp, which sounds a little like, you know, the Hitler Youth or whatever. I mean, who does a camp for kids that's all about politics? Disturbing. But anyway, so there's this political camp, and some crazy man goes and starts shooting. And that was the part of the comment that really bothered me. Or the part of his comments that really bothered me. Because I think it really shows how youth political opinion in this country has really been marginalized. And by this country, I mean the United States. That's where I'm located, in case you didn't know. Because I forget sometimes that people that watch YouTube are all around the world, so they might not automatically know where I was. I mean, I could be in Canada or some other English-speaking country. But youth opinion in the United States, particularly about politics, is really marginalized. I know particularly a lot of older people, especially on the right, but also many that could be considered liberals. I don't know any that could be considered socialists that have this. That think, well, young people are just stupid, and they're inexperienced, they shouldn't be involved in politics because they don't know what they're doing anyway, they just need to get older, they need to go to college, and then they need to get a job right after college, and then they'll have the experience they need to be involved in politics. That is, as long as they vote the way we want them to. Which, by that point, they probably don't vote or care about politics anyway, because they're so demoralized about the whole situation that they don't think about it. I mean, I remember I had to take government my senior year in high school. And that was probably the most apolitical point in my life. Because in government class, it's the mainstream view of what politics is supposed to be, and it's only acceptable in certain parameters, and you have to think within certain lines, and so on and so forth. And so I just kind of lost interest in politics for a while, because that's what I was being fed every day it was supposed to be. And I think part of why that is this idea that people are too stupid to run things by themselves, or run their own affairs by themselves. We need messiahs, and we need leaders. Strong leaders that run things. There's this idea sort of projected in society that people are too stupid to do things, just let us run everything, and it'll be okay. Just get up and go to work each day and don't worry about anything else. So that's what I think part of that is. Just the general idea that people are too stupid to run things themselves. But youth are one of the groups that are particularly centered out in that opinion that's being pushed. But that's just what I think about it. What I'd also like to talk about, though, is Norway's Labour Party. Because as you heard, Glenn Beck said, well, it sounds like the Hitler Youth, the youth part of the Labour Party. And so I want to talk to you about the youth wing and the Labour Party, and you can decide for yourself if you think this sounds like the Nazi Party to you. Because in my opinion, Lewis Black was right when he said Glenn Beck has Nazi Tourette's. He just sees Nazis everywhere. So let me tell you a little bit about the Labour Party. The Labour Party is a left-leaning social democratic party, which means essentially they favor a mixed market economy with some government involvement and the welfare state and a strong social safety net. That's the basic ideology of the Labour Party. Now, since the 1980s, they've actually moved to the right economically. They favored more privatization of government-run industries, more selling off of state assets, lower taxes, and other real pro-business policies. So in that area, they're actually in line with a lot of the things that Glenn Beck agrees with. So that gap between the two of them is actually not as big as most people would think. I guess I can understand maybe why he's confused, though. Any political movement that has the words labor in it, he automatically would probably think of the Nazis. The youth wing of the Labour Party is called, what is it called? It's called the Workers' Youth League. And I could see, the word workers and youth might confuse Beck a little bit. He thinks, wow, it's the Hitler Youth because it has the word worker in it. Anything that has to do with the working class, he just associates with Nazism. But yeah, the youth wing is called the Workers' Youth League, and of course they had that camp where they go and probably did some normal camp things, but it was centered around politics and involving young people in politics. By young people, I think the youngest person to get shot there was about 14, so 14, 15-year-olds, maybe to people in their early 20s. And that was generally who the camp was oriented towards. Now, the Labour Party, unlike the Nazi Party again, the Nazi Party outlawed all political parties that weren't the Nazi Party. While the Labour Party, actually, they don't have a majority in Parliament right now. They haven't had it since 2001, so they actually have to share political power with different parties. They have to form coalitions in order to have a majority in government. Right now they have a coalition with two political parties. The Socialist Left Party, which is of course another socialist or social democratic party, and the Center Party, which is a rural Norwegian party, or at least their base lives in rural areas. And their main political objective is to decentralize political power. They think that local and regional government should have a lot more power than they have right now, and that the national government of Norway should have a lot less power. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds to me like an objective that that Glenn Beck and the political movement around him actually support. So the Labour Party has to form a coalition with parties it might disagree with on a lot of things, but that it has some common ground with. So they're far from the Nazi Party, in my opinion, in that area. So that's just sort of a little introduction to who the Labour Party of Norway is. And you tell me if they sound like the Nazis to you. Well, that's all I've got to say. Peace.